Hey YouTube, it's Dimitri, and today I'm going to talk about 6 different methods for removing the underbody coating, like that rubberized coating on the bottom of your vehicle or car here. We are in the middle of the 1966 Ford Fairlane restoration project, and I've been having a little bit of trouble getting it off safely, easily, sometimes just being able to get it off at all in different spots. So I'm going to cover 6 different methods here quickly and tell you which ones I prefer and why. So to start off with here, the first method is going to be using a die grinder. You can buy bags of these little grinding wheels, little discs. They're little circles, I think they're like 2 inches, and they work great. They just pop on and off your end attachment here, so you just unscrew one and it's worn out and screw a new one on. This by far works the best though. I find I have great control over it. It tends to take off both the thick rubberized material, it does take a little bit longer, and it takes off any paint, it takes off thinner material. It takes everything off really, and it does it pretty quickly and pretty efficiently. The only downside to this is that it is a circle, and so often it's hard to get into like a 90-degree corner with this as well. So you might have to use something like a torch, which we'll talk about here in a second. So this is my absolute favorite, hands down, best tool, works the fastest, does everything under the sun. Now I will say your personal protection on this is a little bit cumbersome. Of course you need safety glasses because there's going to be a lot of parts and little rubberized pieces flying, whether it's parts of the disc or the undercoating. You can wear, I just wear a light breathable air mask because there's no fumes involved with this process here. No need for a full vapor mask. And then air protection because the pneumatic tools that these hook into at the air are very, very loud, or at least fairly loud for me. And then I highly recommend wearing some sort of glove. I like wearing welding gloves for this because I often am transitioning between all these different methods, including using heat. So that's typically what I go with, but you could go with something a little bit lighter, like a rubberized glove, or maybe even no gloves at all. But I like to have a little bit of hand protection just in case something gets caught up in here. Now, the second best approach, in my opinion, is using some sort of heat source and gas here. So this is the Bernzomatic. I'm just using a flame for this. I'm getting in there, torching, basically softening up all of the underbody coating, and then coming with a set of scrapers here. I like having an assortment of these different sizes so that you can actually get into different spots and corners. Like I said, this doesn't get in corners real well. You might come back at the end, torch up the corners, use a little scraper, even a tinier one, get in there and kind of scrape the corners out, and that does that job for you there. Now, the one thing I don't like about this is I would highly recommend, again, safety glasses as usual, but you're gonna need to wear a respirator. This stuff is burning, it is creating fumes, it smells awful. You need to have some lung protection that's much better than one of these cheap little ones to block particles. And yes, this is an N95. It's not gonna do the same as an actual respirator here. You also will need gloves because it is hot and it is melting, and as you can see in part of this here, I'm upside down, and you're probably gonna be laying underneath of a car as well, like I do often, getting that undercoating off, and it's gonna be dripping and it's gonna be hot. You gotta be careful, don't get it on your head, your body, but your hands are gonna be in the way and you're gonna need gloves for that. Ear protection you don't really need because there's really no noise here, it's just using a torch. The third best approach, if you're worried about getting the sheet metal too hot, is to use some sort of heat gun here. So I have a nice cheap Warrior heat gun from Harbor Freight. We put it on the high setting and we go back and forth and back and forth. This takes significantly longer than using gas or an acetylene torch or something that's gonna be a much bigger application or a more powerful heat source. This is nice and slow, so you could do it if you're concerned about metal warping, but I will tell you, I was too frustrated with this. It does work, it just takes a lot longer, and you're kind of going back and forth and back and forth, and then going back with some scraping tools on that as well. So it works, it's possible, not my best choice though, but it's an option to the heat source that you could use. And then coming in at 4th place, the needler itself. So I've used needlers for precast concrete. They work great at stripping wood and metal forms, getting all that concrete off. They work okay at doing underbody. I've seen videos and I've seen a guy do it and it like comes off like butter and it's amazing and it's like everything you could ever imagine. I did not have that experience at all. If your underbody coating is very, very brittle, these are stellar. And so I would give these a shot if you think that your coating is brittle. My coating from 1966, and I believe it's still the original coating, is still a little bit rubbery. So this did great at getting some of the looser, big, brittle kind of chunks and pieces off, which you can see here in the video. But when it got to like the main material that was really stuck on, even on just simple flat spots, I was using a bunch of pressure trying to go in at an angle on this, trying to go flat to break it and then try to scrape off back at an angle. I didn't think it worked that well. It was pretty frustrating, to be honest with you, and at the end of the day, it's not even getting you a smooth surface. You're still gonna have to come back with your die grinder to clean everything up and do the work. Why not just do this once instead of doing 2 different products for that? And this comes in at 4th place, but it does have its applications, but really I didn't think it was very functional at all. 5th place came in with just an air hammer and a chisel of some sort. So this is a wider tip chisel here. We just hooked it up in the air hammer, tried to carefully apply just a little bit of pressure, see if we could scrape it. Not a great solution, to be honest with you guys. It bounces around. It did remove some. Again, I think it would be equivalent to the needler, just a worse option. It does take off the brittle pieces and everything else, but it bounces all over and it's hard to get smooth kind of stripping motion with it. So I'm not a fan of this. I would not recommend this. And then finally, in last place, and something I would just highly recommend not doing at all, is going to be an actual angle grinder. The revolutions on this, the speed of this is too fast for tight spots like we're doing on the bottom. If you're doing wide open, smooth areas, using again one of these giant big like 4-inch, 3.5, 4-inch strip it discs works stellar. It's fine. I've liked them. I use them on a lot of the body of the car itself. We even tried using a cupped braided wire wheel to get in there as well. I didn't think it did great. I think the strip it, to be honest with you, did better on here. But the reason I'm putting this in last place for a lot of the underbody is you've got tight kind of spots. I'm under the wheel wells. There's some seams and stuff. I've caught a few fingers up, luckily not in the wire wheel, but in the strip it discs, and I've had some pretty bad cuts on there. It works, again, great, and I think it's safe and fine to use with the proper safety equipment, but it does great on long sweeping panels. It does not do well in short kind of, even I'm gonna say tight spots, but like tighter spots. And a lot of the underbody on this Fairlane, I feel like there's some contours in the floor and stuff. It's not gonna do well. If I get to wide open areas, I will definitely use the strip it discs, these larger ones. But in general, for a lot of the underbody and a lot of the tight spots here, I would stick with the die grinder. So overall, strip its work the absolute best. Again, angle grinders I think are a little bit overkill for this. But using a die grinder, you're gonna be a little bit more precise. You can even get a little bit bigger ones, which I'll kind of show you here as well. I don't have any on me, but you can use bigger ones inside your die grinder. But that is the ranking of tools that I would use given my experience here on removing the underbody coating. So if you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and follow along to watch the Fairlane rebuild project. And as always, until next time.